Right now on the National Weather Desk, a crippling winter storm is set to strike a large part of the country, bringing heavy snow and dangerous ice. Our team is ready to bring you extensive coverage.
8 to 12 inches of snow is expected to fall in the OKC metro.
Cities and states prepare to clear the roads.
We will be working 24 hours.
What you need to know to keep your home's pipes from bursting.
Open up those cabinets underneath. That's really important.
The health risks associated with the bitter cold. And are those social media stories about trees exploding in the cold really true?
Trees are not going to blow up. Rather, they'll snap, crackle, and pop.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and thank you for joining us at the National Weather Desk. I'm John Rogers. Days of preparation come to an end later today as that massive winter storm arrives in the southern plains. It's bringing heavy snow to the north and catastrophic ice down to the south. They'll be followed by bitter cold, folks, making the impacts of the storm last even longer. So here's what we know this morning, okay? The storm starts to develop later today over Oklahoma and North Texas, as you see here. Over the next 48 to 72 hours, it'll be moving east with at least 170 million people in the path. A foot of snow or more is expected on the northern side, especially in Oklahoma and the northeast. But folks, it's that crippling ice that's going to be the biggest challenge here. It could lead to days-long power outages for millions of people at a time when temperatures are plummeting. And that cold arrived in the northern plains this morning. In Wisconsin, it feels like 40 to 50 degrees below zero, folks. Can you imagine? Schools are closed in Chicago because it feels like 22 degrees below zero over there. In northern Minnesota, the actual temperature is dropping to 30 below with a wind chill near 50 below. And that cold air is not only helping to drive the winter storm, but is going to keep the precipitation that falls frozen for days. Our team is spread out across the country covering this storm. Let's go check in with three of them right now, starting in Oklahoma City.
From the National Weather Desk, I'm Chloe Budamis in Oklahoma City, and we are just hours away from a major winter storm here in Oklahoma. Today is predicted to be the most dangerous day on the roads, with roads turning slick around 2 or 3 p.m. today. Snow moves in overnight, and you will wake up to a blanket of snow tomorrow morning, but then we do have dry conditions from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. tomorrow. The worst part of the storm will be Saturday night through Sunday morning. That is when we will see the heaviest snow, the strongest winds, and the most dangerous road conditions. North of Oklahoma City, we'll see the heaviest snow as well. Southeast, we'll see a little less, but in the city here, we're going to see about a foot of snow here.
Good morning, it's Johnny Maff here from the National Weather Desk. I'm in Nashville, where it is, as you can look at the flag here, the calm before the storm. We're not calling it a snowstorm, though. It's going to be called a winter storm, which Nashville's definitely not too used to, especially up and down middle Tennessee, but we're all in a winter storm watch for some snow up north, especially near the Kentucky border, and then ice over here. Now, Nashville, the infrastructure and such, it certainly doesn't handle snow too well. Last year, 3 or so inches of snow had some schools out of school for 3 days. So this ice on top of that gets the tree limbs heavy, gets the power lines heavy.
I'm John Gonzalez in Washington. As a major winter storm targets this region of the country, crews are already getting ready this morning, ramping up preparations. D.C. is pre-treating with brine mix that includes beet juice designed to work in colder temperatures and help ice melt faster. More than 300 plow and salt trucks are ready to go, with similar full deployments underway in neighboring Maryland and Virginia. Officials urge drivers to prep their cars now, limit travel if possible, and give these snow crews here in the D.C. area plenty of room to clear the roadways. I'm John Gonzalez for the National Weather Desk.
Thanks, John. So now let's go see how people, cities, and states are preparing for this storm's arrival. We start with a look at efforts to keep the roads clear of snow and ice. Now we have two reports, beginning with Adele Uchida in Austin, Texas.
So here in Central Texas, yesterday, crews began pre-treating our roadways.
Texas Department of Transportation crews are on winter weather duty today, even as the sun was shining and the roads were dry. It's all to get ready for the rain and freezing precipitation in the forecast for the weekend, the kind of forecast that brings Austin to a standstill. Right now it calls for rain as soon as Friday and turning icy as temperatures drop, but that rain isn't expected to wash the pre-treatment away.
The forecast begins with rain, heavy rain,
will the treatment get washed off the road, or how is it going to stick to the road, essentially?
When we put our saltwater solution down, it dries. If you've seen it on the roadway, it looks like pinstripes down the lane of the roadway. That clings to the roadway, so a decent amount of rain is not going to wash that away. We can always retreat if necessary, and we often do during these storms. But when the moisture hits that brine, that activates it.
But the department is treating the most heavily traveled roads in Central Texas first. Still, they don't want you out there even if you stick to busy treated roads and have four-wheel drive, because like any Central Texas storm, the conditions can change quickly.
It's a real art to this. It's a real way to do this if you're going to be successful and if you're going to maintain your equipment the correct way to get things done.
Derek Johnson, also known as DJ, with Glory to Glory Landscape, has been in the business for more than 30 years.
Sometimes we can come in, we can be done 35, 45 minutes, give or take.
He says they already have dozens of clients lined up for the weekend and expect more calls once the snow starts coming down. But DJ says the timing of this storm is key for when he's on the road.
Unfortunately, it looks like this weekend, by it being a Saturday, Sunday with a lot of stuff closing up, that takes a whole lot of pressure off.
Well, the water pipes in your home are at risk of freezing in bitter cold, so Robert Hagan is showing us what you should do right now to protect them from bursting.
Here's the 101 on pipe prep. Step 1, drip indoor faucets to avoid water freezing in the lines.
Let's wait until we are in these freezing and sub-freezing temperatures for a good number of hours.
Drip the water enough for a consistent stream, 2 or 3 millimeters. Step 2, let the warm air do the work for you.
Also, open up those cabinets underneath. That's really important to help circulate heat in those areas.
Step 3, wrap all pipes in unheated areas. Step 4, protect outdoor pipes and faucets.
You really just want to make sure the hoses are disconnected and that you have covered them in some manner.
Step 5, winterize your sprinkler system.
By this time, you should have your sprinkler system turned off, if not at the control panel, certainly at the valve.
Drain your system and backflow device. Finally, know where your main water shutoff is located in case of an emergency.
And we have a warning from doctors. They say the extreme cold that's coming can quickly lead to serious health risks, including hypothermia and frostbite. Lauren Avenatti has the signs that you should look out for and what you can do to stay safe.
Hypothermia is a lowering of the body temperature, and if you get a temperature that's below around 96 or 95, you're going to start to see clinical effects.
And despite popular belief, you don't have to be in water for hypothermia to happen.
You can get hypothermia in really any situation, any mechanism that allows us to lose our heat.
Wind, cold air, and not wearing enough layers can all make your body lose heat faster, especially if you get wet.
If you get wet while you're outside, you're going to lose heat much faster.
Doctors say some people are more at risk than others.
The elderly, young babies, or people that suffer from alcohol or drug abuse.
Frostbite is also a concern in extreme cold.
Frostbite will develop within 10 minutes.
Early signs include numbness, tingling, confusion, or feeling unusually tired.
So if you begin feeling that when you're out of the cold, immediately retreat back into warmer environments and warm these areas of your body.
Doctors say the best protection is limiting time outside, dressing in layers, and staying dry.
Well, some zoo animals need extra attention during the bitter cold and snow. Folks at the Little Rock Zoo, they say they've been working to set up generators in case the power goes out. They're also providing their animals with extra bedding to stay warm. Some staff members are sticking around overnight to make sure the animals have what they need. Well, with the arrival of that bitter Arctic air, you might be seeing social media talking about exploding trees. Hey, you heard that right. You may think it will look like something like this. It's definitely the image that came to my mind, but rest assured, that's not the case. Meteorologist Audrey Lee explains.
If you've been on social media over the past few days, you've probably seen posts claiming trees may explode this weekend in the extreme cold we're going to get. Now, I know what you're thinking. But the truth is, trees are not going to blow up. Rather, they'll snap, crackle, and pop. Some say it sounds like a gunshot. They get frost cracks. They happen when moisture inside a tree freezes and expands, causing cracks. They can be loud and alarming, but they're not uncommon during Arctic outbreaks.
The sap inside the tree, it may freeze with the coming cold temperatures. That creates intense pressure inside the tree, and that pressure might be more than the wood can handle. Thus, you get a crack that relieves that pressure.
It won't happen to every tree. Some are more prone to it than others.
Maple trees are most likely to have cracking, but not every maple tree is going to get a frost crack over the next few days. Any hardwood tree potentially could get a frost crack.
So don't worry, the trees aren't going to explode. Stay warm this weekend, and remember, you can't believe everything you see on the internet.
Oh, well. Well, when we think of winter weather, we have to face snow, sleet, freezing rain, and more. Meteorologist Riley Blackwell explains how activity in the sky determines what we see on the ground.
Let's stay at the cloud. You have precipitation falling, and this blue layer, that's below freezing temperatures. But then you have areas that are above freezing. That's just good old-fashioned rain. But let's say you're freezing at the surface, above freezing, right before you get to the cloud, and then freezing back at the cloud. That's when you get freezing rain. But let's say that cool layer is a little bit bigger, but you still have an area above freezing just below the cloud. That's where you get those little pellets of sleet. But of course, if you're freezing from the cloud all the way down to the surface, that's when you get that pretty snow. Now, once again, the biggest difference is in that middle layer from the ground to the cloud. If it's all below freezing, that's when we get the nice, pretty snow. But of course, you have that wedge of warm air from the cloud to the ground. So the ground is below freezing, the cloud base is below freezing, but in the middle is above freezing. That's when you get the freezing rain and of course, icy, dangerous travel conditions.
Oh, that was a good explainer there. Well, cold is not just about the temperature and what's falling from the sky. The wind typically makes things feel much worse. Meteorologist Grayson Freund shows us how the wind impacts what it feels like outside.
When we take the air temperature and factor in the wind speed, that's how we get the wind chill, or the temperature that it actually feels like on our skin. Here's how it works. We have a layer of warmth around our body that helps keep us warm, but we lose body heat through the process of convection, where moving air or water carries warmth away from the skin. Say the air temperature outside is at 20 degrees. If there's little to no wind, it still feels like 20 degrees. Now, here's a different scenario with the same 20-degree air temperature. Add in a strong 20-mile-per-hour wind. The wind breaks up the insulating warm air around our body and makes it feel a lot colder, around 4 degrees. So the wind can actually make a huge difference. Now, when wind chills are between 15 to 30 degrees below zero, like we've had to start the week, frostbite can occur within 30 minutes or less. So it's important to protect yourself from the cold to avoid frostbite or hypothermia, which can be life-threatening. Dress in loose layers, cover all exposed skin, including your mouth, to protect your lungs, and try to limit your time outdoors. Keep pets inside, and be sure to check on friends, family, or neighbors that might be more vulnerable to the cold.
Well, frigid temperatures and heavy snow can be a real nuisance for some folks, but for others who are winemakers in northern Michigan, this is a welcome sight. Buried in snow with single-digit temperatures, most vineyards are pretty empty, except when a very special harvest takes place. Mark Shollet gives us a look at how ice wine is made.
I do want to give them a shout out. It's very cold. I've done it myself, and I think I was outside for 5 minutes and my eyelashes froze to my eyebrows.
Sitting in the tasting room that she now manages, a much warmer Haley Green can pour a glass of what she once froze for.
It's a great product, but the love and effort that goes into it too makes it even better.
That product, the ice wine.
Something you sip on after dinner.
A sweet sip, but bitter conditions to get to that point.
Got up super early. We've been harvesting today. And then you got to take it directly to the press. You have to press it right away while it's still frozen.
In late fall, when the other grapes are harvested for traditional wines, some are left to feel the chill of a northern Michigan winter.
It's cold, cold.
When it gets cold enough, like really cold, the harvesters are back to the vineyard for a blitz of getting those frozen solid grapes off the vine and to the presses.
The juice that comes out is extremely concentrated, so there's a lot of flavors.
Some years it doesn't get cold enough to complete the process. This year, that's not a problem.
It's obviously obviously cold enough where we can get ice wine, so we do it super quick.
A cold day of work today to create this year's collection, and in a couple of weeks, a sweet celebration of its creation.
We celebrate ice wine and the fact that we can actually make such a cool product. We do it on always the last Saturday of January. So this year it is Saturday, January 31st.
A day of celebration made possible because of a day of very chilly work, providing an opportunity to sip, to celebrate, and to learn a little something.
The fact that we can make such a special product, it's cool to see exactly where it's done and how it's done in person.
Very cool, very delicious too. Well, moving on now, an earthquake on Thursday rattled portions of Utah and Wyoming. Salt Lake City meteorologist Lindsay Storrs shows us where it struck and why the location wasn't much of a surprise.
We had a 4.7 magnitude earthquake that happened at 7:49 a.m. This happened 25 miles to the south of Evanston, just to the west of the Mirror Lake Highway in the Uinta Mountains. These other little yellow dots that you see are other smaller earthquakes that happened around the same time frame. This one's kind of interesting because it occurred 2 minutes before the main earthquake. This is what we call a foreshock. A foreshock is a smaller earthquake that happens ahead of the main earthquake. And this doesn't happen very much. Only about 5% of the earthquakes that occur worldwide have a foreshock that occurs right before the main earthquake. These other yellow dots that you see are aftershocks, smaller earthquakes that occurred after the main earthquake. These were generally only 1 to 2 on the Richter scale. We could continue to feel aftershocks from this earthquake for weeks or even months ahead. So if you feel a little rumble under your feet in the coming weeks, you know what's going on.
If you're going to be stuck in the house this weekend with all that snow, why not check out this week's episode of our podcast, Off the Radar? Here's a preview.
Imagine waking up to find your house surrounded by water, not from a burst pipe or a broken levee, but because the ground itself had changed. The permafrost your home was built on has thawed, and what was solid earth is now a part of the ocean. This isn't a nightmare, it's reality for indigenous communities across Alaska. Alaska is warming faster than any other state in the country. The Arctic is heating at nearly 4 times the global rate. And while the world's emissions drive this crisis, it's the indigenous communities in Alaska who are paying the price, losing their homes, their land, their way of life. Today we're going off the radar to learn what's happening in Alaska and what these communities can teach the rest of us about surviving the crisis we created.
Wow. Well, you can find Off the Radar anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. New episodes drop every Tuesday. And for even more great weather content, be sure to follow us on social media. Just search the National Weather Desk.